Hello guys, Davinator right here, and today we are continuing my horror film review spree. Now, the movie that we're going to talk about today is the 1981 cult classic horror film, The Evil Dead. Now, there are two reasons why I wanted to talk about this movie today. Number one, I recently saw the Ash vs. Evil Dead TV show trailer, and it looks fantastic. I'm really excited for that show. I think it's going to be great. And the second thing is, I said that in the horror film review spree, the movies that we would review would get increasingly more and more independent and low budget. And I thought this was decent progression. I mean, from Night of the Living Dead to Dark Soldiers to this, thought it was decent enough progression. But anyway, yeah, so the premise of this movie is pretty simple. I mean, all it really is just a bunch of college students, well, not a bunch, just a handful of college students go out to a cabin in the woods, and then they get slashed up and killed by demons, and then they get possessed one by one, and, all kinds of gory stuff ensues, and you get the Evil Dead. However, because of this movie's execution, this movie is considered the cult classic that it is today, because, I mean, this movie is just the pure definition of a cult classic. I mean, really, this movie has such a die-hard, dedicated fan base, and I can understand why. I can definitely understand why it does have this fan base, and yeah, this is a very fun movie. I really like this movie. Now, if you look at it on a technical level, it's not perfect at all. It's, in fact, not even good on a technical level. There's tons of continuity errors. There's all kinds of just plot gaps, or not really plot gaps, but just stupid things that happen. Like, the performances aren't exactly great, and the special effects, when you get down to it, are technically kind of cheesy. However, when you read about the stories behind this movie and how it was made and for how low of a budget it was made for and how they made things work, this really will make you have a bit of admiration for Sam Raimi and the entire crew of this movie, because they just did an incredible job for what they could do. They had no money to work with, and they made this movie, and they did a good job with what they had, and I think they should definitely be commended for it, and they have been commended for it. I mean, they have a die-hard fan base now. But anyway, yeah, just the biggest pro for this movie is just Sam Raimi's direction. His direction is just so stylish and energetic and funny and just dark and awesome. It's just great in every way. As for the characters are alright. Like, the characters aren't great. I mean, like, Bruce Campbell as Ash. Okay, now, Bruce Campbell is mainly remembered for his performance as Ash. And, well, really, the reason that he's remembered for his performance in Ash is because of Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness. Not so much for this movie, because in this movie, he's a bit of a coward. However, as the movie goes on, he grows as a character and starts to like him more and more, and he ends up becoming the protagonist. And, and then in the sequels, of course, he just turned into just one of the most popular cult classic horror film characters of all time, for sure. And now everyone loves Ash. But yeah, in this movie, it's kind of interesting to see, like, he's kind of a coward at first, but he grows as a character, and I like that character arc. And I do like the side characters. I mean, the actors gave decent performances. I mean, a little cheesy, but, whatever. I don't care. It's a very low-budget movie. And also, let's move on to other aspects, the music is nicely done. The film is edited well, as well as it could be for this low budget at the time. Just shooting on film. You don't have, computers to edit stuff together nowadays, so yeah, they did a great job with that, as well as they could. And the special effects, and the set design, and just every aspect of the movie in that regard is all great. I mean, yes, technically, the special effects, and the gore effects, and the creature effects, and the stop motion and all that, it doesn't look real. However, give me crappy-looking prosthetic and practical gore effects over badly done CGI gore, because while both the gore effects in this movie and the gore effects in, say, here's a random example, Ninja Assassin, that has a bunch of CGI gore, while both of them look fake, Evil Dead still looks a lot better than Ninja Assassin, just because it's actually there on the set. And yeah, just the special effects in this movie are great. I love seeing stop motion and stuff like that. I always love to see that, and they did a really good job with the effects in this movie, and there were definitely some horror stories like, whoa, how did they do that on this budget? Like, really, how did they do that? And it's really impressive. And practical effects in horror films especially. I mean, practical effects in general, but especially in horror films, are always the best practical effects. And the effects in this movie, very impressive to me. I really liked them. And, well, yeah, definitely pleased me in that regard. Now, Again, this movie is simple. It's fun, popcorn entertainment at its finest. It's a stupid, dumb movie, and it doesn't matter because this movie is very fun. But really, while this movie is looked upon as just a great cult classic, I mean, I didn't grow up with this movie, so I don't have like a bunch of nostalgia for it. I just saw this, a couple months ago for the first time. And because I think because I don't have that experience of like growing up with it, seeing it for the first time at a young age, or anything like that, I don't view this movie in my mind as like one of my favorite horror films of all time. Because really, the only way that you could view The Evil Dead as being one of your favorite horror films of all time is just as like growing up with it and having a bunch of nostalgia for it. Because when you get down to it, this isn't a very good movie, but it's just a very fun movie, and it's just a joy to watch. I mean, it's like a home movie. It's like your friend's home movie, but like the most well done home video horror movie like that you'll ever see. And it's just very well done, very entertaining, very fun, very enjoyable, absolutely worth watching. And my final rating that I'm going to give it is a B+. Definitely enjoy it. I will definitely watch it more times in the future. It's going to be one of those movies that I watch in Halloween. But anyway, yeah, guys, that's about all I have to say. Oh, that's right, the gore rating. The gore rating? Now, let's see. Technically, the gore effects don't look very realistic, so I kind of want to give it a very bloody, a 6 out of 7. I mean, I kind of knew that they weren't going to look that realistic going in, considering the budget, but still. Because of that, the gore rating that I'm going to give it is a 6 out of 7, but still, like, there's still some gross stuff. I mean, there is some gnarly looking imagery in this movie, and even though it definitely looks fake, I mean, because it's practical, because it actually is there on the set, it still kind of grosses you out, and there's definitely some pretty serious dismemberment and disembowelments and stuff like that in this movie. It gets pretty gruesome. It's very violent. I have not seen the remake of The Evil Dead, which is just called Evil Dead instead of The Evil Dead. I hear it's like I've seen like clips here and there, bits and pieces, and yeah, that's really violent. Like I hear it's more violent than this original, which is saying something because this is a very violent movie. It just didn't gross me out as much as something like, say, The Thing. But anyway, yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I have to say. If you like this video, please rate and comment and subscribe. And if you want to, you can also share. Get out of my face.